Hey guys, Chris here. In this video, I'm going to give you guys my top 6 recommended electric family SUVs with all-wheel drive. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you guys the car I would personally buy with my money based on my preference, because the car I recommend to others based on practicality, based on drivability, and based on value for your money isn't necessarily the car I would buy with my own money. So without further ado, let's jump into the list and find out what is what. Number 6 on the list is one of my favorite electric SUVs of all times, and that is the Model Year 24 Volvo XC40 twin motor. This is the new updated version, and this car has a lot of pros. Good looks, comfortable, quiet, best seats in the class, nice interior, a good stereo, good infotainment system, great ergonomics, great route planner, proper SUV driving position, arguably the only car in this list with a proper upright high driving position. Also good value in this bunch of vehicles when you start speccing it out, and also great performance, the best performance of any car here on the list. So you may be thinking, why is it only 6th on my list? Well, the cons are pretty strong. So it has the smallest cabin by far in this class and also the smallest trunk. These two things combined for a lot of people actually puts this car in the class below, and arguably isn't even a contender on this list because it's so much more smaller on the inside than the other cars on this list, and that's why it only makes it to 6th. 5th on this list is also a car I really do like, and that is the Kia EV6 long range all-wheel drive. Among the pros, good looks, it's comfortable, it's quiet, it's nice to drive, and it also has fast charging. The fastest charging of any car here on the list, because it's the only car with an 800 volt architecture. When it comes to the cons, it has a smallest trunk along with the XC40, the smallest trunk of any car here on the list, and also has a very poor infotainment system, by far the worst infotainment system of any car here on the list, and also in top trim, it can get expensive. 4th on this list is the Skoda Enyaq 85X. This has a roomy cabin, it has a big trunk, it's quiet, it's comfortable, arguably the nicest interior in this class also, and also has good ergonomics. And when I'm talking about ergonomics, interior ergonomics, I'm talking about the combination of how the infotainment system works, the driver's display, and also steering wheel buttons along with all other secondary buttons. The whole ecosystem, how well and easy that is to use and how functional it is. And this has good ergonomics. When it comes to the cons though, it is boring to drive, arguably the boringest car here to drive. And also with options, it can get very expensive. With options, spec'd out, this is the 2nd most expensive car on this list. And also the exterior has more to be desired, because in my opinion it looks like a minivan more than it looks like an SUV. 3rd on the list is the corporate cousin to the Skoda Enyaq, and that is the Audi Q4 e-tron in this trim, the 45 Quattro. And because these two cars are very closely related underneath the skin, they have a lot of the same pros, and that is a roomy cabin, a big trunk, it's quiet, it's comfortable, but this car has a much nicer exterior. I really do like the way the Q4 e-tron looks. It also has a nice interior, maybe not as nice as that Skoda actually, but it is a nice interior. And also class-leading ergonomics. There's no car in this class that is as easy to use when it comes to primary, secondary controls as that Audi. It also drives like an Audi, it just feels like a luxury car going down a stretch of road. It also has a lot of options that are available, meaning you can personalize this vehicle just about any way you want. It also has quite good route planning. The cons though, with options, this is by far the most expensive car here, but you don't need to option it out with every option on the list to have a well-optioned car. And if you're conservative, it actually offers good value in this class of vehicle. Though the interior is nice also, it does have some questionable build quality, which doesn't make it as nice as our other Audi products. Number 2 on the list is the Tesla Model Y long range. This car offers the best value of any car here on the list, and that is hard to argue. It's also roomy, it has a big trunk, it has a big front, it's sporty to drive, and you also have access to the supercharger network, which arguably is the best charging network on planet Earth. It's superior. It also has great route planning, good performance, only beaten by that Volvo, and also, yeah, great value. the cheapest starting price of any car here, and also spec'd out, it's almost the cheapest here also. The cons though, it has a harsh ride and a noisy cabin and also poor ergonomics. Though this arguably has the best infotainment system, everything is buried in that infotainment system. And this car doesn't even have a driver's display, which is a deal breaker for a lot of people. So poor ergonomics, and also has a bland interior. Before I tell you guys my #1 recommended car on this list, I just want to give a huge thanks to today's video sponsor, Recharge, the largest charge point operator in the Nordics with more than 4,000 charging points across Norway, Sweden, and Finland. And I actually filmed a very cool video with Recharge the other week where we took a look at the state of charging in Oslo, and we toured a lot of the new sites, the sites that are going to be upgraded and updated. A very cool and interesting video. So if you're interested in charging and the state of charging in Oslo, go check that video out. There will be linked in the description box down below. #1 on my list is a car I have criticized harshly in the past few years, but also a car that has gotten better in that time since launch. I've also spent a lot of time with this car lately, which has, made me appreciate just the simplicity of it and how it works as a car, which has made me like this car a whole lot more. So therefore, despite all its flaws, the Volkswagen ID.4 GTX is #1 on my list because it offers a roomy interior, a big trunk. It is much more quiet and comfortable than the Tesla Model Y and offers as good as value. Starting price almost the same, spec'd out, they're basically the same price, and you're just getting more here. You're getting more comfort, you're getting more quietness, and you're getting arguably as roomy as a cabin. It's just a really good car. And as bad as the infotainment system is, because it really isn't good, the total package of interior ergonomics is better to operate and to use than that Tesla Model Y in my experience. So the cons, it has a cheap, poor interior that is the blandest of the interiors here. But despite that, as a family vehicle at this price point, it's hard not to recommend, and that's why it is #1 on my list. So that is my top 6 recommended family electric SUVs with all-wheel drive. Well, what is the car I would buy with my own money based on my personal preference? Well, 2 cars which are kind of hard to decide between, but they have a lot of the same pros, and that is the Audi Q4 e-tron and the Volvo XC40, because they're both great on the exterior, on the interior, they're both great to drive, and also just offer a luxurious experience that the other cars in this class doesn't offer when it comes to driving. I think at the end of the day, because of the value, because it's cheaper, once you spec it out, I think the Volvo XC40 is the car I would go for, because when you spec them out, yeah, it's about 100,000 kroners cheaper than that Audi. So it's actually quite good value also. So guys, let me know what you think about my list. Are there other cars here you would recommend instead of these? Let me know in the comment section down below. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.